See, now, this is one of the reasons why I step back from talking so much about the Bible and the Israelites. And I'm not saying it was right for me to do that, but I can remember in 2014, that was the last year I stopped going so hard about it. From 2012 to 2014, I was like on this crazy rampage trying to tell everybody about the Bible, telling them who we are as the Israelites, telling them about the scriptures in the Bible. And ever since 2014, I've been low key about that. I wouldn't say I went back into the world, but it's like when I hear conversations and debates about the Bible and religion and this and that, I just kind of like just step back and I just be quiet. I stopped trying to get in debates with everybody and stop trying to force everything down people's throats, because in the midst of all of that, you have the Kemetic community. Oh, we're not no damn Israelites. The Israelites is a white man Bible. King James was a homosexual. We're from Egypt. We're from Kemet. We're descendants of Kemet. Then you have the Nation of Islam people. We need to follow Islam. We're from the tribe of Shabazz. Then you got, it's like it's a bunch of confusion. Then you got the Moorish community. You got a bunch of people saying we're Moors. And that right in there is like a whole bunch of confusion within itself, because when you look back at the history of the Moors, they were also Israelites. But they had a mixture of the teachings of the scriptures and Islam. It was a whole bunch of confusion in 2014. So in the Israelite community, you're debating, not really debating, but you're trying to edify a lot of our people who don't even believe in God, who don't even believe in the scriptures or anything. Trying to teach them who we are, because there's unrefutable proof that we are those people of the Bible. You can't run from it. I try to ignore it. I try to avoid it. I try to get into debates about it, try to get into topics about it, everything. But you can't run from it. It's right there. It's plain and simple. You got celebrities talking about it now. Look what happened to Kanye. Kyrie Irving. I remember back in 2016, 2015, you had, what's that basketball player? I think it's Amir Stoudemire. I don't know if I said his name right. He was trying to teach people about that. It's out there. You can't deny it. But before we get into the debate of the New Testament being false and not our book, Christ not being the Savior and everything, can we at least focus on getting our people to know who they are according to the Bible? Can we get to that first? I mean, me personally, I don't agree that the New Testament is not our book and it's false. I believe in the New Testament as well as the Old Testament, because without the New Testament, there wouldn't be no Old Testament. And Christ doesn't go against the teachings in the Old Testament. The only thing Christ goes against is the law of sacrifice. That's the reason why he died. So,
all right, I'm going to stop it right there. First and foremost, before I begin, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations unto the four elect tabernacle of David scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. So this is the same brother that you saw in other videos, lessons done by the Akim, the elder apostles. All right, and he was basically saying how he realized that everything that the Hebrew Israelites were saying was true. And, Jake coming to their senses. And this is the same brother. And he's basically going into how, years ago, he saw how difficult it was to, wake, different Israelites up, seeing that Jake is into all these different false religions and cultures and, these different teachings. And they got to the point where he just fell back and didn't want to, tell everybody. you'd sleep better at night if you understood that all Israel is not gonna return. All right, there's only going to be a remnant that's going to return. All right, when you realize that this thing is only for the elect only, then you'll sleep better at night. You know, he got a little frustrated and discouraged that every Israelite that he was trying to teach wasn't, they wasn't budging. So he kind of got a little bit disgruntled. He said, I didn't go, back into the world, but I just stopped telling everybody. Well, that's what we all do when we first come in. You come in, you have zeal, and you get so hyped, you want to go and teach others, and then you realize after a while, Jake is a stiff necked, simple, naive group of people. All right, they're very hard hearted. They're stubborn. All right, so you learn to, get over that and understand that this isn't for every Israelite anyway. All right, scriptures all throughout tells you that the majority of our people are going to be blinded. So if majority of our people are going to be blinded, then why are we trying to wake up every Israelite? All right, so I'm just responding to this. All right, because you can see that he was definitely frustrated that Jake wasn't, budging. So let me get this real quick. I'm gonna start in Ezekiel. Let me go to, was it the second chapter? It is Ezekiel 2, and I'll start at 1. It says, and he said unto me, Son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee. And the Spirit entered into me when he spake unto me and set me upon my feet. Just like when you read that in Revelation, the 11th chapter, about how the Spirit of the Most High entered into us, and we stood upon our feet, right? As that great army, and fear fell upon them which saw them. And that's what's happening now with, different brothers and sisters, waking up, starting with the men, of course, because it says, to the men I call. All right. So the Lord is calling up, he's enlisting men, all right, into his army. And now, and what is that breath represents? All right, the spirit of wisdom. We're now, with that spirit, we're now remembering ourselves in the land of our captivity. Okay. So the brothers that's out there risking their lives, that's out there in the streets, where the Lord set us upon our feet. All right. It says that I heard him that spake unto me. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day. And he was mentioning how all these Jakes are in these different religions. And you got a lot of Israelites that just don't believe at all. Some of them are atheists. They don't even believe in a higher power. So Jake is just all over the place. They're completely destroyed. Okay, so they're against their Heavenly Father. As long as you giving your devotion and energy to anything but him, you're coming against the Heavenly Father, whether you know it or not. Right? It says, for they are impudent children and stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, thus saith the Lord power. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. So at the end of the day, you learn to understand that majority of Jake, they're going to reject it. They're not going to really want to hear it, especially growing up in this society where their mindset, it's crafted by, Western culture. They've been westernized. So they're going to have a hard time grasping, all right, this understanding. Okay. So a lot of them are going to reject it. They're going to forbear. All right. And that's to be expected. We can't get frustrated over that. But, this particular brother, he was, of course, young, in the spirit. And, during that time period, I don't know what he was doing, if he was still listening to the camps or, I don't know what, where he stands as far as what he believed in the teachings. All right. But, can't be on the sidelines forever. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to have to, at some point, you're going to have to make that decision. Okay. Because you want to be on solid ground when the Lord returns, and you want to be up under the leadership of the real true men that the Lord appointed, that he gave granted authority. All right, men that's going to lead you to salvation, because you got a lot of false prophets, a lot of false teachers out there as well. All right. So continuing on, it says, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there have been a prophet among them. And it's going to register eventually, because after all these years, and, we've been warning Jake, that who they are, their nationality, who their God is, his name, his only begotten son, his name, who he died for, who he's coming back to deliver, and what to do before the judgment, coming back into repentance. All right. Pretty much the Lord, through us, gave them the message of repentance to give them a chance to turn back to the Lord. But like it tells you in 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, they're going to despise, that open hand. Okay. Let me go to it real quick. And that's why, this isn't for everyone. Like, we don't stress, we don't lose our heads when we see that Jake is rejecting the truth, when we see that Jake is into all these other false religions, of emptiness. When Jake, come against us, we don't stress it. Early on, Jake gets zealous, because we're compassionate about this thing, but we don't lose sleep over Jake. This is all part of the Most High's purpose. So this is 2nd Ezra 9 and verse 9. It says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments, for such as in their life they have received benefits and have not known me. They're able to breathe, they're able to sleep, they're able to eat, they're able to drink. The sun shines on them, they get rain. So they get all this, from the Lord, because all things consist by him. And yet they still don't know him, because they serving other gods. Okay. Practicing other nations' cultures and their pagan practices. So they don't know the Lord. And they that have loathed my law, while they yet had liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. And that's Jake coming against this truth. Who is your God that we should serve him? And what profit is in there to serve him? Why should we believe and worship him? Then they have the nerve to denigrate the Most High and speak contemptuous against him. What type of God does this and do that? Well, the same must know it after death by pain. So, Jake murmuring and blaspheming and speaking against the Lord and his purpose, they're going to be preserved unto the day of judgment, where every idle word that they spoke, they're going to have to give an account. So we don't stress it anymore, Is meant for Jake to be in this place right now, because majority of them, they're not going to make it. It says, and therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved. whose the world is and for whom the world is created. All right. So the more you understand this, you're not going to stress. You're not going to lose sleep. We go out there every weekend and we see that, no Jake stop and want to listen or don't want to inquire. Hey, because it's not meant for him anyway. Even though we out there, planting, we're out there sowing and watering. The Most High is the one who gives the increase. He's the one who draws you in. Like Yahweh Shai said, no man can come to me but my Father, which draws him in. It says, then answer I and said, I have said before, and how do speak, and will speak it also hereafter, that there be many more of them which perish than of them which shall be saved. All right. So it's going to be a lot more Israelites that's not going to wake up and they're going to be destroyed, and that's why he told Ezra, you go to the 15th chapter, read the first couple verses, don't fear the imaginations against you. Don't get worked up over the unbelief from our people, because the Lord called it from the beginning. This is a generation in whom there is no faith. So this is 2 Ezra 15:1. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. And that's whether they're in Islam, whether they're Moors, whether they Kemet, whether they're in Islam, whether they're in Christianity. They're going to be destroyed. They don't want to believe the message coming from the Lord's prophets, which was prophesied that they were going to be out in the streets. Then, hey, we move on. Okay. Just like they're rejecting the Lord's counsel, the Lord's going to reject them in the day of judgment. Okay. So going back here, it says, and they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there have been a prophet among them. So they're going to come to the realization after the fact. When all this hell, comes upon them, when they're finally getting afflicted and they suffering these miseries, when the Lord basically increased the labor pains, the tribulation, that's when they're going to know. And by that time, it's going to be too late, because the Lord said he's going to make the tongues of our mouth cleave to the roof, to the roof of our mouth, so that basically the Lord's going to put that spirit on us to be quiet. We're going to play dumb when that time comes, because at that point, it's going to be too late. The doors of mercy is going to be shut, like the Lord closed the door of the ark when Noah and his family were in there. Once they got inside, the Lord shut it, that no man can enter or exit. So it's going to be the same way. Jake going to be out there looking for us, and they're not going to be able to find us. That's going to be the Lord basically closing off that, that path to him. Because Jake chose the world. They chose whatever false religion, that they chose, whatever God that they serve. You go back to that in Judges, the 10th chapter, and also Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter. Going to the gods, going to these idols that you chose, and see if they'll deliver you in the time of your troubles. Let me get Judges, was it 10? Yeah, Judges 10 and 13. And this is how Jacob is going to wind up in Jacob's trouble. It says, you have forsaken me, Judges 10 and 13, and served other gods. Because if you in Kemet, you serve a whole nother God. You in Islam, you serve another God. Even Christianity, all right, you serve another God. It says, wherefore I will deliver you no more. Go and cry unto the gods which you have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. And that's what it's going to be in that time. All right. So going back here, it says, and thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words, though briars and thorns be with thee, and thou doest dwell among scorpions, be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. All right. So that's what's to be expected. They're going to rebel. They're going to come against it. They're going to try to argue with you because they're hidden in those those holes. They're snared in those prison houses. All right, they're mentally captive to these false religions. All right, these institutionalized and having come up in all these different religions and cultures. It messed our people up, and that's why, like it tells you in Ezekiel the 34th chapter, as long as they didn't have a shepherd or they had false shepherds that didn't care, they were being scattered, to and fro. The wind carried them from this mountain to that mountain. Jake is into, you got certain Jakes that they try to put all this knowledge together. There'll be a Kemet, Islamic, Hebrew / Christian. Like Jake will be all over the place. And that means that you definitely don't have a true foundation. All right, this is Ezekiel 34, and I'll just read from the top. It says, "And the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel," and that's dealing with these fake leaders. All right, that have been all compromised, but they're sitting in that position. Jake looking to them, and they're being stirred in the wrong way, the wrong direction. And that's why you got to have the true prophets that are there to balance it out, to warn the people of the false leaders, the false shepherds. You got the true shepherds, and then you got a bunch of false shepherds out there. The false ones, those are the wolves in sheep's clothing. And then you have the true shepherds to warn you against those type of shepherds. But our people are so, bugged out. They're going to continue, to wander to and fro. They're going to be lost. It says, prophesy, say unto them, thus saith the Lord God unto the shepherds, woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks? Because, a lot of them are bought and paid for. They live in luxurious. So they're real comfortable. They don't care much about Jake's well-being and, what their status is with the Heavenly Father. They don't care. They're feeding themselves. They're using you to make merchandise, making a profit. It says, you eat the fat and you clothe you with the wool. You kill them that are fed, but you feed not the flock. The diseased have you not strengthened, neither have you healed that which was sick, neither have you bound up which was broken, neither have you brought again that which was driven away, neither have you sought that which was lost, but with force and with cruelty have you ruled them, and they were scattered because there is no shepherd, and they became meat to all the beasts of the field. When they were scattered, my sheep wandered through all the mountains and upon every high hill. So our people that's why they're all over the place. This is why they're in Islam. This is why they're in Kemet. This is why Jake is into Scientology. This is why Jake is into witchcraft. Jake is into Catholicism, Christianity. It says, yeah, my flock was scattered upon all the face of the earth, and none did search or seek after them. But now the Lord got his true men out there. All right. You go back to Proverbs 1. And also Isaiah 30, though he give you the bread of adversity, the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eye shall see thy teachers. The Lord said, I will raise up pastors according to my heart that shall feed you with knowledge and wisdom. And you're going to have a remnant that's going to return to them, because the Lord said, my sheep hear my voice and they follow me. So we're not expecting all of Israel to follow the Lord, because they all are not the Lord's. They're not his. Only those who are there with them from the beginning, it's going to resonate with them, because he's the ultimate shepherd. He's the bishop of our souls. Okay. So we expect Jake to continue to be lost, and we're out there blowing a trumpet. We're out there sounding the alarm. And a lot of Jake, they're going to hear, but they're not going to follow. Okay. They're going to go against the warning. They're going to go against the invitation. They're going to reject the invitation, so to speak, which is fine. And even the Lord, when he was on the scene, he told his disciples not to give that which is holy to the dogs, neither cast your pearl before swine. Stop trying to wake every Israelite up, because it's not for every Israelite. The more you get it through your head that this is only for a remnant, this is only for the elect, you're not gonna stress as much. Really, I don't lose sleep, because I know the majority of our people ain't right. All right. The scriptures say that righteous shall scarcely be saved. The angels, they rejoice over one sinner repenting and converting. Just one. Because there's only going to be a significant few that's going to wake back up. Okay. It says, therefore, you shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. As I live, saith the Lord power, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field, because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherds search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves and fed not my flock. Therefore, O you shepherds, these false pastors, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require my flock at their hand, and cause them to cease from feeding the flock, neither shall the shepherds feed themselves any more. For I will deliver my flock from their mouth, that they may not be meat for them. All right. Because our people, they're gone, man. A lot of their leaders been compromised, bought. So basically the enemy has been leading our people, just pretty much scrambled all over the place, scattered. And our enemies, took a effort to keep this information from going out. This is why at one point they were suppressing the attention that the Israelites was getting, making sure that the Israelites don't get any, kind of recognition, keeping this thing unknown. And they were trying to, come to the main school and was trying to buy certain dudes out, which it seemed like a few dudes that happened to, because we're starting to see it now in their doctrine that some of these dudes got bought out. And this is all to put a bad name on Israel. So now it looks like, look at all these camps, man. They divided, they this and that, they all this fighting and, gossiping and this and that and the third. So certain Israelites on the outside, they looking at it and they get discombobulated. Some of them, they just get discouraged and be like, man, I'm leaving these camps alone. I don't think none of them have the truth. Because, you got dudes that are literally set up to cause that type of confusion. And the Lord said, woe unto them that's causing my sheep to scatter this way. But that's what makes this path that much more narrow. You know, the gate to salvation is going to be very narrow. It's a straight, thin line. All right. And most people, they're going to want to seek the most comfortable way, whatever makes them feel more comfortable. That's where Jake is going to go. So that broad way is wide open for him. And that's more than likely the route that they're going to go. Even if they come into Israel, they're going to come into the Israelite camp that's most world friendly. All right. They're not too far off from the Christians or the black conscious world. So, yeah, man. That's why we're only out there to seek the elect, because the elect they're going to be the only ones to obtain this, and the rest are going to be blinded. So it's best not to waste your time. All right. Though Israel be as the sand of the sea. Let me get that. Isaiah 10:20 says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, and as such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon the Lord, the Holy One of Israel in truth. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty power. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. So this is what you got to understand. All right, Jake, they're going to be all over the place. And some of them even in this thing. Well, like he said, well, y'all believe in that New Testament. That's not our book. Show us where, we're going to have a New Testament. You got black only Israelites. You got to be black to be an Israelite. So Jake is all over the place. That's why that's how the Lord narrowed it down. Okay. You see that pinned comment in his video where some clamorous woman, all right, because you women, they're still not in order, talking about the camps believe Christ is coming out the sky. Well, what Bible are you reading if you don't believe that? Because the scriptures is clear how the Lord's coming back. It said that he ascended up to heaven in a cloud when he left, in the same way the angels told, was it Peter and them? The same way that you see the Lord leave is the same way he's coming back. So how you think he's coming back? So you got a lot of bugged out Israelites, man. So that's why that helps us understand why the Lord's only going to bring the remnant. He's only going to save and elect. All right. So I'm just replying to this video here, okay? Because he got frustrated. He stopped talking to Jake. Well, if you would have known that a long time ago, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be in this position. But it's been a minute. When you listen to him speak, he's saying that he's been knowing this thing over 10 years. So Jake really don't have an excuse to not be, if he's been learning all these years, you should still be teaching. We don't let the incredulity of Jake put us in a position where we feel like, we shouldn't even go out there or not speak or teach if the Lord called you. The moment the Lord called you, you're supposed to get to work, man. So, yeah, we ain't got no time to be bullshitting. The hell with these niggas out here. They're gonna burn. A lot of them gonna die in Jacob's trouble, and a lot of them they're gonna burn, man. We're only concerned with the elect. So, that's pretty much it. Lord willing, this was edifying. I give all praise to Yahweh Shem Shai. And until the next lesson, Shalom.